In today's episode, we're going to be talking to Trevor Smith, the owner of Sparksmith Electric. And we're going to be talking about working interviews. So if you're having challenges with labor, this might be something that you want to try. We're going to give exact tips of how he does it and how and what the impact can be. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. But for now, let's dive in and get started.
This is Help, I'm a Contractor podcast. Hi, I'm Seth Lewis. I am a blue-collar business coach. Finally, someone that understands what contractors actually go through. My goal and vision is to connect business owners with knowledge while tackling some of the industry's toughest challenges. Please subscribe to my content and let's support each other to create awareness for our industry. Check out what I have going on at www.bluecollarbusinesscoach.net. Check out my book that has helped business owners across the country change their business and their life. But for now, it's time for the show. Let's get it.
Hey, Trevor, thanks for being on the show today. How's your day so far?
It's going great.
Where are you located? I see some nice trees in the background. So start off with that.
Well, actually, that's my backyard, and I am in San Pablo, California, the San Francisco Bay Area. The weather is, I like it. It's overcast and cold. That's my favorite, but it'll probably get sunny and warm later this afternoon.
Yeah, that's great. So let's just dive in. Just tell us a little bit about your business. What do you do? And how did it start and your journey?
All right. Well, I'm an electrical contractor. My business is called Sparksmith Electric Incorporated. It started from just the idea of without risk, there's no reward. And I had a very good job in the union. At the time, this was 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. I was making $71 an hour on the check. I was working on really cool jobs like the Chase Center and the Giant Stadium, and I felt like I'd hit a glass ceiling, and that was it. That's where my life was, and that's all I was going to be able to do, and that's all I was going to be able to make. And so I thought to myself, I want to make more. I want to be more. I want to do more. I also want to have liberty in my life. Every time I would go on vacation, I felt like I always got laid off. And so I wanted to be able to go on vacation, but still be able to come home to a job. So I started my own business. I had a friend of mine that also had his own business he'd started. And I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so I did it. However, I chose a different model than him. He went into doing a whole bunch of commercial work, and he was running around all over the place. When I say all over the place, he lives in Sacramento and was working in San Jose, kind of all over the place. I run all over the place, but I live in the Bay Area and I work in the Bay Area. I do residential electrical work. I work mostly with homeowners to fix their issues that they have that arise in their house. I give them options on what they can do to fix their house. I give them solutions on what types of new innovative safety equipment there is, say for arc fault breakers, which are like anti-fire breakers, or surge protection, which will protect their house from any incoming surges from like PG&E or the local utility. If someone were to hit a transformer or lightning strike or something like that, we don't get a lot of lightning around here, but it basically, the surge protector protects all their appliances that have a circuit board in them, and everything does now. So I do like to tell a story about, I got called out on an emergency service call to go look at 5 or 6 mansions in a little town called Orinda. The PG&E transformer had blown up, and they all their huge surge hit their house. Now this surge took out their refrigerators, their big Viking refrigerators that are built in, and their furnaces, and maybe some other stuff. But those two things for sure were the main culprits in all the houses that got fried. And so, yeah, even in the rich people's houses, nothing is safe,
Right.
without surge protection.
What's the biggest thing that you've seen in the difference of that commercial segment to the residential? The reason I ask is there's a lot of people that specialize in both. So some people are in the residential and they say, I want to be in commercial. And then there's people that are in the commercial and want to be residential, or vice versa if I said it. But it's kind of the idea of grass is always greener on the other side. So why do you like the residential versus the commercial?
Few different reasons. I spent my career in the union doing commercial work, and I love it. I love commercial work. It's great to work for a big contractor and work on a commercial project. As the contractor doing a commercial project, it comes with several headaches, including getting paid. Um, with residential, you're working with a homeowner, you're helping to solve their problems, you're helping people out, and you're also getting paid like right after the job is done. When you do work for companies and corporations and that sort of thing, they reserve the right to hold on to the money that they owe you for 30, 60, 90 days, whatever they deem fit, because of they have these funky things called net 30, net 45, net 90, whatever, net 180. I don't know. I don't play that net game. I I It's too hard for me to uh, wait for a payment on a job that I completed like a month and a half before. It's my business is not set up for that. I want to get paid. I finished the job. I want to get paid. I want to move on. I don't want to think about that job anymore because it's done. Right. I don't want to have to be. I'm chasing after the ambulance trying to get paid.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's those are great points, and I would agree with that. That's probably the biggest difference besides the size of the job. I mean, commercial is obviously usually a lot bigger jobs. Residential, you can do quick hitters and obviously get paid. Has there been any difference in the labor force? I know one of the things that that we talked about that I think is a great idea is some of your strategies to with challenges in the labor market and being able to interview people and test candidates out or do working interviews. So what have you seen in the labor market in the residential side, and what are some tips that you've used to try to overcome some of those challenges?
but there is a big gap of skilled workers in the workforce right now, and I'm not sure what happened to them all. Um, it seems like there's a whole generation of people that sort of came of age in this pandemic and realized that working was just not something they had to do, and that they would be subsidized by the government or something. And so, yeah, finding good hard workers is difficult. So one thing that we have started doing is a working interview where we'll talk to the person first, we'll vet them, we'll look at their work history, we'll look at their resume or whatever, But then it's like, okay, well, let's see if what you say is true. Let's see if you actually do know how to work. Let's see what your work style is like. Um, See if you know how to stay on task, kind of thing. And so we do a working interview, which basically, I'll sit there and I'll talk to a person. I've been doing electrical work for like 20 years, both residential and commercial, mostly commercial and industrial. But I would consider myself almost consider myself a master electrician. I don't believe there's such a thing. There's so many different aspects of electrical work that I don't think anybody can actually be a master electrician. But I mean, I'm a journeyman electrician. I know quite a bit. I'm a pretty smart guy. And so I'll talk to them. I'll quiz them on how things work. Well, how does this work? How does a three-way switch work? What's an arc fault breaker? What is surge protection? Where would you put the surge protector? Those sort of things. Then I'll have them do the job and um, we'll see how they do. Just all right, here's what we're doing. Here's the job. Here's what we're working on, and let them go and just watch them, or work with them and see how it is to work with them and see if we mesh well, if we can work well together, if they want to work, if they don't want to work. If you like say, hey, can you go grab such and such, like go grab the wire stretcher out of the van, and or the go grab some wire out of the van, go grab some material out of the van, and you can tell if that guy, just by that right there, if he's sort of like, if he walks slowly, kind of like with his hands in his pockets, just sort of like not really having a purpose, not really getting it, that's not a guy for you. Not a guy for me. Not the kind of guy I want working for me. I want a guy that is gonna walk with urgency, walk with determination. I'm not asking a person to run. I'm asking him to walk because I don't want them to run. Running, then you can get hurt. But um, walk with determination. Walk with, a purpose. And I'm going to the van to get this stuff right now. We need it yesterday. We
What
don't
do you,
need it right.
yeah, what do you see as a response? So when you talk to somebody on the phone, and I think it's a great idea. It's, you know, people come up with creative ideas to make it work when you have different challenges in the labor market and the quality, like you said, that generation gap and some of those things. When you bring this up or your team brings it up to say that, what's the response that you're getting from the worker or the individual?
What's the response as according to what? Like,
Is it something that they're open to? Do they like it? Are they hesitant? Like, what have you seen the actual
I've
workers'
seen
response to the working interview?
I've seen people open to it. They feel like, I feel like they're like, you know what? Yeah, this is what I want to do. The other good thing about the working interview is they get a taste of what we do, right? It's like they might be used to doing something else and they may have an idea of what we do, but not really understand what we do. And so we bring them in to do this work and take them on to, sometimes I'll take them on a service call with me if I have it, if I have that chance, um, or we'll just be working in a house. I'll have them crawl around the attic, under the house, that sort of thing. Uh, just getting a good taste of what we do on a normal basis. And sometimes they don't like it, and sometimes they're like, this is not for me, this is not my type of job, I don't want to do this.
And that's a great thing.
Right.
That's a great thing to sort that out ahead of time.
I hate, we spent, and the reason we started this working interview thing was because we have some mentors that have helped me out quite a bit. This company called the Service Profit Group, they have helped me out tremendously with a lot of stuff, learning how to do service calls and all kinds of different things. The thing is, though, they said that we need to take 2 weeks to onboard someone, 2 weeks to interview and blah 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 and this and that, and after 2 weeks of working with somebody to get them on board, and then they work with me for a day and then find out that they don't want to do this kind of work is ridiculous. It's a waste of time, if you ask me. And we need people right away. We don't want people. We're not trying to like sit here and wait for somebody to come on board. And it may be one thing where if they already have a job and they need to quit that job and they want to give their 2-week notice, that's understandable. However, for the most part, we want to get somebody in the door and see what they got and show them what we do. And
yeah, I think that's a great thing too, because like I think in today's current environment, the 2-week thing is kind of out the door unless it's a more senior position or there's something where they're currently working somewhere. But having a system and process to make it quick, you can still check the boxes of the things that you need to ask, the things that you need to know. And then a working interview, I think, is great because you actually get to see what they can do and the knowledge. And when you're actually on the job, you really can't fake it anymore. So somebody that's willing to do that, I think, is probably a better quality person, or feels like, hey, I'm somebody that is going to show up because I'm going to show up when I'm on the job and I'm going to do a good job versus, I could imagine, when you say that, there's probably a percentage, and maybe this or have seen it, but maybe I'll ask the question is, what is the percentage of people that when you say we're going to do a working interview, they're like, no, I'm okay. I took another job or I'm doing something different. Do you see that a lot?
no, I have not. Actually, I've found that most people are like, all right, I'll do a working interview. I mean, we're going to pay them.
We'll be right back to the show. I want to invite you to my Blue Collar Mastermind group. This is a group of blue-collar business owners who share input on tough topics, support, celebrate, and learn from each other. The world's best business owners, leaders, actors, athletes, and musicians all have coaches or are part of a similar group to grow and succeed. If you want more from your business, have limited time, don't want to break the bank, this group is for you. Learn more and apply to the group at bluecollarbusinesscoach.net.
Like, all right, I'll do a working interview. I mean, we're going to pay them, right? It's like, we'll pay you. If we don't want you, we'll just shoot you some cash. If we do want you, we'll just put you on the check, right?
Right.
And yeah, most people are like, okay, cool.
So it sounds like that's a great way. And I like your point earlier of you saying, hey, this is a way that they can actually test out our company. Maybe they don't know what electrical contracting is. Maybe they don't know that there's parts of, stuff that you got to crawl in an attic or under, how you're running wires and everything. They don't know. So, I think that's an interesting point where they say, yeah, most people are open to doing that. And I would encourage other organizations to really look at this concept and see what works for them, because it's a two-way street. Hey, this is what we do and this is what you can do. And I really like that.
Yeah. One guy we had do a working interview, said to us, he said he didn't want the job because he didn't like what we were doing and didn't like the kind of work. And he said that he is at a point in his career that he feels that he can pick and choose the type of work that he wants to do. And I was like, okay, cool. No problem. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? No big deal. I'd rather not have somebody working here that's disgruntled and doesn't like what they're doing. I want somebody that's happy with what they're doing and enjoys coming to work.
So for somebody that's looking that isn't doing this and they're hearing this and they're saying, man, this is a good idea. I like the concept of this. How would you set it up, or how would they start it? So we're just going to pretend there's a company that is listening right now and They say, I want to do this. What are the next steps of how they do this?
Well, you'd have to do some interviews, and however however a company would find candidates. I use a company called Applicant Pro. They basically source from all kinds of different, like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and whatever else. Um, and there's a lot of candidates that we get that are not qualified by any means, not qualified. And we still have to weed those out. We're still looking for people that are qualified, that on paper they say they know what they're doing. But then you find someone that knows what they're doing. You give them an interview. We've got this other thing called Wedge, which is like a video interview, which I love because then I get to see what they look like. I had one employee that has tattoos on his face, and I just don't play that game. I'm like, you know what? Like, you made poor decisions in your life. You decided that you wanted to put tattoos on your face, and most homeowners aren't okay with that, right? We're not. Most homeowners don't listen to Post Malone or whatever, right? I don't. I just know what his name is because I think he's an idiot. But yeah, the tattoos on the face, like, or big neck tattoos, something scary. Like back here a little bit, fine. Tattoos on the arms, whatever, no big deal. Tattoos are a thing of the future. But then there's also, having class. And part of this job is working with customers and homeowners and people of the generation of our parents' generation, or my parents' generation, which was like 1950s, right? They grew up in the Beaver Cleaver, like, kind of era with the milkman, and they are not okay. I mean, they're just okay with tattoos on arms and stuff.
Right.
When it comes to tattoos on a face, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So looking at, once you have a candidate, so let's say you have a candidate that you're looking for, what does a working interview look like in let's say the first day? Is a working interview one day? Like, do you vary tasks? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a week? Like, tell me a little bit more about how you structure that.
I feel like a working interview is generally a 1 day thing. I'll know within 1 day whether I want to work with you more or not. I will know by your hustle. I'll know by your demeanor. I'll know by your knowledge. I will know by what you're doing. I can tell. I can just sit back and watch someone work because I've been doing this for so long. I guess I can look back. I can just sit there and just watch someone work and see how they're doing and see what choices they're making when they're doing their wiring. Are they confident with what they're doing? Are they not confident with what they're doing? Are they staring at that switch box like, oh, I think this one goes here and then this one goes here? Or are they just and just doing it, right?
Right.
It's like, are they driving the car for the first time? Are they vroom, not really sure what they're doing? Do they still need training wheels on the bicycle? Or are they just jumping on the bike and going? Are they just jumping in the car and driving? And that's what I'm looking for, is the guy that knows what he's doing. It's all second nature. It's all just,
they've been doing it. They have the experience.
Yeah.
What have you found? Once and I like that there's 3 things that you're looking for, and I think this is good. That I think each company should find their 3 things, but I think these are a good 3 things that you use. It's hustle, demeanor, and knowledge. So, to simplify this, you bring somebody in, you have a working interview, you rate them on hustle, demeanor, and knowledge, and so when you see this and when you see them do well, is is that how you dictate their pay, or is it already a pre-thing based on the ad?
That helps with the dictation of pay. In if they a lot of guys claim that they used to make a lot more than they used to make than they say they make. You know, and I will base their skills, their knowledge, and their experience in the trade, their time in the trade, based on like how much I'm going to pay them. Um, I can tell, just like I won't write someone off because they are still a little green around the gills. Um, I'll just say, okay, so this guy needs some more training. This guy needs to work on this a little bit more, and we're not going to pay him as much. We're going to pay him, 30 bucks an hour, 35 maybe. But if a guy knows what he's doing, he's the kind of guy that I can leave alone and know that things are going to get done, then I'm going to pay him 50 bucks an hour.
Well, and I think the other thing too that's really important here that I want to highlight is that working interview is something that can save you a lot of money, because if they're perfect on paper, like we were talking about earlier, and you fall for that, and I will say, don't do our due diligence in checking it out, and you give them that higher rate, but they're really the lower rate, you're going to burn a lot of cash. You're going to lose a lot of money as an organization. So, this is a way to make sure that you're not losing money. You're not paying things, because one of the things that I see with a lot of organizations is the cash flow challenge. And whether it's getting paid at the end of the job or it's something like this, I call this a hidden cost. So a hidden cost is overpaying somebody because they're not delivering the output that you need, but you're paying them premium, and that creates a cash crunch.
Right.
But this is a way to help reduce some of those things in a proactive way, and then create alignment with the person. So if the person isn't at that rate, now they'll apply for that higher rate job every time, all day long. That you will fill up the thing, because they're actually testing you to see, are you going to hire me for this role? Because they want to advance, but this is a way of testing them, say, hey, you're not there yet, or you are there yet. And I really like that. So when you think about this, how would you summarize it, just to kind of wrap up? And what would be some advice for a contractor that's looking to try this and implement this in their hiring process?
I guess just if you're wanting to implement this in your hiring practice, look at what you're doing. What kind of work are you doing? Are you doing residential? Are you doing commercial? And different attitudes and different personality types work with different things. For me, I work in the residential sector. I want someone that's going to be pleasant with customers and also respectful. And so I think if really you just want to, I always try to come at it like a win-win situation. How can I make this a win-win? A win for them and a win for me. Because even if I don't hire that person, it's still a win for them, because I'm going to tell them why I'm not going to hire them. Right? It's not, there's been so many times where I've gotten laid off at jobs in the union and not known why. And that's one of the things I hated, was that like they would just lay me off and then that would be it. And then be like, well, why am I getting laid off? I've been busted my ass. And so you got to let the person know, so that they can grow as a person. Always come at it with a win-win situation in mind. Even if you're mad at the person, just explain to them, this is what you did and this is why we have to let you go. and or this is what's going on and you're not ready for us, or we're not ready for you. You know, the training wise or whatever the case may be, this is why we don't mesh.
Right.
Um,
I think that's a great point because it's very difficult to do in the world today, and there's not enough of it delivered in the right way. So, because at the end of the day, it is helping people grow, and when they don't have that feedback, they don't know why. And I think that why is important because that can actually propel them to the next thing. Again, if it's delivered the right way. So I really like that, the way that you did that, because you're really making an impact, not just for somebody that's working for you. If you do it the right way and take the time, energy, and effort, you're making an impact for that next person. So great episode today. I really loved hearing about the working interview. Thanks for being on the show and sharing that with the network.
You're welcome.
Hey, it's Seth. Thanks for listening. For more information about my Blue Collar Mastermind group, Blue Collar Gear, free resources, or my book, go to bluecollarbusinesscoach.net. You can subscribe, like, and share if you enjoy this. Thanks again.